So again, Parma Cathedral, an unbelievable structure that was supposedly built in the year 1229. Now, just to give that some context, the first steam engine wasn't invented until the late 1600s. So I'm supposed to believe that this was built in a time when hand and chisel was the tool of use, and there wasn't even a way of getting all the material here other than horse and cart. You've got to be joking. Look at the size of it. So yeah, Parma Cathedral, an absolute, I mean, it stands out like a sore thumb compared to most of the buildings around here. But straight away, a few things that I recognise. You can see the horseshoe shape everywhere, all over the building, where the windows would have been at the top of the spires, etc. Looks like there's some scaffolding going on, so maybe some restoration work. I doubt very much it will be to the quality of the original build. So yeah, once again, just blown away at the thought that people think this was built in the year 1229, which is about 400 years before the first steam engine was even invented, let alone a power tool. So apparently all this was done with hand and chisel. Just so you know what you're looking at here, in case you are unaware, you see the designs in these windows and the smaller circles, etc. We see them in lots of buildings. These aren't by accident. This is something called cymatics, which is frequency. For example, if you play sound through water, or if you put sand on top of a speaker, you can often make different shapes. A lot of people think those shapes can be used, or those frequencies can be used for healing. So I've pointed this out when I was at Prague Castle / Cathedral. The horseshoe. We will see the horseshoe shape time and time again across all of these buildings. Sometimes as windows, sometimes as doors, sometimes blocked out like this. But if you notice, it's the horseshoe everywhere. And again, it's not accidental. This shows massively intelligent design by whoever built this, not us, because the horseshoe is a really, really, really strongly shaped magnet. It's specifically used even today in generators, and I'm suggesting this could be an old energy generator building. And it's also used in the medical industry because you can pinpoint the electromagnetism on certain parts of the body. Now, as the same with a lot of these old world energy centers, which we inherited and now call cathedrals and castles, etc., you'll notice that at the top of the spires you often have this almost jagged antiquitech, and it's repeated all over. My belief is that this design is not accidental, but it's used as a way, or it was used by whoever built it, as a way to pull energy out of the ether which is around us. There is energy all around us, frequency, etc. But one thing that I really want to point out here is this. If you know your symbolism, you will know that this is an extremely occult image that you're looking at. Now again, don't get me wrong, as massive and as unbelievable as these buildings are, that we are told are cathedrals and castles, which I don't believe was built by us in a time when supposedly we were rolling around in horse and cart, hand and chisel, etc. I just can't buy that, you know? But imagine if this was only the tip of the building. Imagine if actually it went a lot further underground, you know? You have to ask, why are the doors, etc., so huge? Who were they built for? Even around the back here of Parma Cathedral. I mean, look at the size of these doors. You can see where they've had to cut out normal sized doors within whatever there was there before. Absolutely gigantic. Look at the intricacy on all of the antiquitech that we see, which is repeated over and over and over again, all over the building, to the same standard, you know? Can you imagine trying to do that with hand and chisel? It's like laser precision that we're looking at.
This was an electric quick service station for electric-powered taxis in 1940. The fleet of taxis would just pull up and they would quickly swap out the battery, almost like a NASCAR pit crew. It's funny, they had fleets of electric vehicles, electric taxis like this, electric trucks, So much. I went to the Museum of Science and Industry this spring in Chicago, and they had a whole wing of the history of the automobile. Not one of these electric vehicles were shown. Just the reintroduced technology from today, like the Teslas and stuff. Nothing on these electric trucks here. Nothing on these electric buses. It's like they didn't want you to know the capabilities and power of the past. And the parasites can keep on charging as a premium for their petroleum-based vehicles. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Do you see that right there? Do you see that airship right there? Do you see that flying ship right there? That's how they were traveling around. They weren't out with the little railroads and steam engines and everything else that they told you. Right there. That is the most important picture you will ever see of the old world. Airships. They have been in the air for a long period of time. The airships, the blimps, all of those things. This is why they destroyed all of that. This is why they had the Hindenburg incident. This is why they got rid of that technology. Because people have been in the air since the 1800s and the 1700s. You have been sold a bill of lies on that the Wright brothers created the first airplane who weren't even paying attention. They weren't even paying attention when the first airplane was flying because people were already in the air. Right there. That is the old world. So flying around in airships, okay? Flying around in airships and building buildings like this, the technology was already here. That's what it was. It connects to helium, it connects to radium, it connects to uranium, it connects to all those things. And all of the world's fairs were all resets. Throughout America and throughout the world, they reset each city and they destroyed the technology to sell it back to you later on in life. The people who were fighting, when they were fighting in these wars, they were fighting for these buildings. Like, these buildings have been around for such a long period of time, and different people would inhabit them or take them, and then the people around them would fight them for them. And it just blew my mind because I found these pictures of castles where they just have moats and all kinds of things around them. And now they don't have any of that. And I started thinking through each fight or war or whatever it was of these different people, then all of a sudden things kind of got broken down. But it really started to make me question everything. And then I found one book which kind of blew my mind, The Boy's Book of Airships. And they were explaining flight in 1783. But flight was not displayed until about 1901 with the World Fair. So it's made me start to realize that a lot of stuff goes back a lot farther. There's nothing new under the sun. And the more I would explore this topic and just kind of, just pick one, like flight or materials, whatever, nothing added up. And I realized that because these buildings, when you walk into them, I went into a couple cathedrals in New York City. When you walk into them, they touch your soul. It's very hard to explain, but you get goosebumps and you can feel this building. And I found footage from that building from 1899.
This is the Milan Cathedral in Italy, and allegedly it was built in the 1300s and supposedly took 600 years to do, with hammer and chisel, horse and cart, ropes and pulleys, and just brute strength to create this amazing, beautiful, perfectly symmetrical structure with no technology, no power tools. How did they complete this? How did they build this? And they just had masterful level stonemasonry skills and just excellent project management and transferring of responsibilities over 600 years. This cathedral is made out of marble, and they mined it 60 miles away and just hauled it with brute strength over to Milan and built it. How did they get the marble up there? How they hoist it up? How they hand chisel it to be perfect? And that door, what is this door? Look at that door. Look how big that door is. That door is built for a giant. Why would they build a door that big for regular people? Look at those people and look at that door. Oh, it's just for design. It's just for, aesthetics. Impractical. Where are the handles at? Look at this place, man. What is this place? This is not, this got converted into a church, but it wasn't originally built to be a church. Look at this. Y'all seen this? I think this is Jesus right here. Okay. And these are, looks like angels. around Jesus' body. Jesus on the cross over there. Maybe another depiction of Jesus. This is very, very good imagery here. I don't know when this door was made, because they said it took 600 years. So who knows when this door was actually completed for real. You know, they might tell you, oh, it's completed this year, but we don't know for sure. But this is Jesus, okay? Now, this place wasn't always a church. It was a power plant at some point. I'm just here to remind you, they did all this by hand. All of these statues and these dudes and these people in here, all by hand. Perfectly done by hand. No tech. That's what they say. This structure was not originally built to be a church. In the old world, in the old Tartarian civilization, this was a power plant or a power harnessing structure to get the etheric or atmospheric free energy and disperse it throughout the area. This was like a pylon. These are all pylons and stuff. And they were dispersing free energy to the different buildings. All these buildings with these antennas everywhere, that's what that was. These old buildings, they harnessed the ether that was shot out from these power plants. You're looking at the inside of an old world power distribution center. How did they build this? How did they hoist all this stuff up with no technology, no cranes? How'd they do that in the 1300s, guys? Let me see a show of hands of people who believe that they did not build this in the 1300s with no tech or no abilities. Are y'all seeing the magnificence of this? You see that random guy at the top of that pylon right there? They put that guy up there. That's marble. That's marble. They put that marble dude on the top of this pylon. How did they get that up there? So these buildings, I'm telling you, like they tried to destroy these buildings during World War II to get rid of the evidence. And I strongly believe that Christ reigned. The millennial reign already happened and they hid that information. And a lot of these buildings are connected to that. The point of this video is to get you to open your eyes and question the mainstream and doubt what they say, because they're lying about this building. They're lying about history. They're giving you made up, fabricated facts and providing proof, fake proof, in order to keep you in the matrix and docile. They're also creating lies and hiding information about Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ, that Christianity is not a religion, guys. It's actually the truth. And these buildings and a lot of this history points straight to Christ. Many conspiracies point straight to the truth of Jesus Christ. And we're going to get into that in other videos.
What if history is a lie and the Tartaria mud flood is proof? The mud flood theory claims a global disaster buried entire cities, wiping out the Tartarian civilization. Then history was rewritten to erase them. Why? Because Tartarians allegedly harness free energy, pulling power from the atmosphere through advanced architecture. A world with free energy meant no control through oil, gas, or electric monopolies. The elite couldn't allow that, so they erased Tartaria from history. The evidence? Buried buildings, underground windows, and grand structures that seemed too advanced for their time, many appearing centuries older than official records claim. If the mud flood really happened, then everything we've been told about history is a lie. So the real question is, what else have they covered up?
They've been hiding the true answer to this question from us. Why are these doors and windows halfway in the ground? During the early 19th century, strange events were reported worldwide. Cities were being dug out from layers of mud and debris. Buildings were being revealed that were covered to their rooftops in mud. A global cataclysmic event buried entire civilizations, erasing them from history. But here is where it gets rather unsettling. The Tartarian Empire, an empire often depicted in old maps, was an advanced civilization that existed across Europe and Asia. They built architectural marvels, had access to advanced technology, and were able to harness energy from the atmos. The mud flood, many say, was a deliberate attempt to wipe out Tartaria from history, hiding their advanced technology and knowledge. But it gets even darker. Look at the world's fairs of the late 1800s and early 1900s. These elaborate buildings, resembling ancient architecture, were supposedly built in just a few years. After the fairs, they were supposedly demolished. Was this to erase evidence of an advanced pre-existing civilization? The Chicago World Fair in 1893, the Paris Exposition in 1900, and the St. Louis World Fair in 1904. These events showcased magnificent architecture, and on official papers they were apparently built with plaster and wood. Do these look like temporary structures to you? The sudden disappearance of these architectural marvels raises the question, were they remnants of the Tartarian Empire, conveniently disguised as temporary exhibits and then destroyed to hide their origins?
This video is only hundreds of years old. We were so more advanced than what we think. History is a complete lie. They are covering up something. This is definitely some sort of anti-gravity technology used by the ancient Tartarians. History is his story. These videos are not just it. There are pictures of the ancients using advanced technology that we do not even use to this day. Why are we not told about this? And why is this not in our history books? This looks like some sort of spirit technology to see the other side, or some sort of hologram technology. What do you think?